hugs afterwards, guys. Thanks.
Most excited I've been for a heavyweight fight in, forever. This is as
really
excited as I've been for a heavyweight fight in forever. So it'll be in Vegas. I'm going. You're going. I'm going to wear a tuxedo and take a martini into the crowd.
Are you really going to wear a tux?
I'm thinking about it, yeah.
I need you to do that.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not joking.
What do you usually wear to a fight?
A suit. I mean,
you wear a suit?
Oh, to a boxing event? Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I wear a dress, but I like that's normal. Listen, you wear a suit?
You go to warm-ups 1 minute home. I wear this until I go to bed.
Yeah, but that's a choice you make, which you don't have to do.
Yeah, it's a choice I make to wear a tux to a fight. Yeah, I dress up for fight. Fights are different than everything.
No, I mean, you do have to dress up. Well, I guess, I don't know, like, what would be, I mean, I don't know. I guess I imagine you in, like, I will look as good Saturday as I can look right now. In this world, Saturday is as professional as I will look all year. I will wear either a tuxedo or a high-end suit. I can't wait to see it. Colin's
wedding day, I wore flip-flops, OP shorts, and I barely cared. Just joking. So yesterday, the Lakers and the Clippers, there was this thought the Clippers wrestled Reggie Jackson, veteran guard, away from the Lakers. I'm not sure the Lakers, my guys say the Lakers weren't in on Reggie Jackson as much as a lot of the media are saying. The Clippers wanted him for a couple of reasons, and I don't know if he's going to matter. I don't even know. I don't really think he's going to be that big of an impact guy for the team, but it's symbolic. There's two things happening in Los Angeles. The Clippers want to meet the Lakers in the playoffs. And that's the best team in the West. They want to meet the Lakers. They don't want to meet Utah. They don't want to meet Denver. They'll beat them, but they don't care. They don't care about Houston. They don't care about Oklahoma City. They don't care about Dallas. The Clippers want to meet Los Angeles, the Lakers in the playoffs. They are building a team to throw 4 guys at LeBron and 3 good guards off the bench. They want to beat the Lakers. This is symbolic. They want a new arena. Steve Ballmer is a hyper-aggressive owner. He's Mark Cuban on the West Coast. He's going to go right after the Lakers. He's not going to run around. There's no reverse. There's no trick play. Ballmer's going right after the Lakers. That is the mindset in that building. So they are building a team to beat one team. They don't give a rip about. They want to play the Lakers, and they want to beat them, and they want to sweep them, and they're building a roster that I think, frankly, I don't think LeBron can overcome this roster right now. I don't. They have too many guys they can throw at him. Number 2 is, if the Clippers do not win a title, the window's not closed. They have a nice balance of veterans, youth, and guys moving in or slightly out of their prime. If the Lakers don't win a title, here's what the Clippers think. Jerry West, Michael Winger, and Lawrence Frank, and Doc Rivers, and Steve Ballmer, the basketball guys, think that Laker window's like this big. They got 1 trade piece, Kuzma. Anthony Davis does get hurt. LeBron will be in his, 18th year? And it's a bunch of old guys. The Clippers believe if they can beat the Lakers this year, it gets easier. Not saying it's easy, but it gets a little easier. AD now, you see his contract? He's going to get real expensive. You're not going to have the bench you have now. Because AD's getting expensive, LeBron's getting older, Kuzma's your only trade piece, and Rob Pelinka doesn't want to trade Kuzma because, AD gets hurt and LeBron's getting old. So in the building, and remember, the Clippers are just building for the Lakers. The Lakers are building to win a title, but they don't appear to be staring at the Clippers, looking down because historically they've been above the Clippers as let's build a roster to beat the Clippers. The Lakers are building a roster. The Clippers are building a roster. Deep down, I wonder if the Clippers could just sweep the Lakers in the West and not win a title. They'll never admit this, but if I said they sweep the Lakers and humiliate them and then lose in 7 to Milwaukee, I wonder if they'd choose it over not playing the Lakers in the playoffs and winning a title. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm nuts. But remember this. The Lakers against the rest of the league this year are 41-10, average 115 a game and shoot 49%. Against the Clippers, they're 0-2, average 11 points less, shoot poorly, threes, field goal, and the assist plummet. Clippers have built a team specifically to humiliate the Lakers. This was a symbolic move. that rip, like Yankee fans ripping on Houston. I understand players being upset, but Yankee fans, you benefited with 5 World Series titles. You had aces. You had your ace, your 3-pitcher, your 3-hitter, your 5-hitter, your cleanup hitter. You had steroids all through. I read the Mitchell Report, all through your clubhouse. Stop whining about Houston. You're total hypocrites. I mean, you're like one mobster banging on another. I mean, you both cheated. And the Dodgers, Eric Gagne wrote in his book, I used HGH. Well, you got to the playoffs in one of those years, so you stole it from somebody else. He was the most unhittable closer next to Mariano Rivera, maybe of my life. I mean, seriously, Gagne had like a 6-year run. You couldn't hit him. He went from a 4th starter to the best closer not named Mariano Rivera ever. So you stole wins from people. So you fans, give me a break. Now, I understand players of the Dodgers or Yankees being mad. I get that because they didn't take steroids. But let's just clear some things up. Well, everybody took steroids. That's just what dumb guys on social media say. That is not true. I worked in the minor leagues, first job out of college. I know a lot of guys who have played baseball. At the low end, they say 28% of people took steroids. High end, closer to 50. Half the sport was not on steroids. And it did benefit big market teams because the big market superstars could afford teams of steroid suppliers and HGH guys. It was a lot of big market guys. Guys playing for a lot of these low-end teams. They didn't make big money. They didn't have the connections like the big stars did. It absolutely helped big market stars. Yankees won 5 World Series titles. The Red Sox won 2 World Series titles. The Marlins bought 2 World Series titles. And the Rangers, who were like steroids everywhere, they were winning all these, individual awards. 3 years made the playoffs. They cheated it from somebody. They took it from other teams. You couldn't play small ball in the steroid era. You couldn't. You couldn't be sophisticated and smart like now where the Royals can win because they have a better bullpen. You couldn't play situational baseball. It was hire guys and acquire guys who are on cattle steroids. And it blew the sport for 15 years. That's the only way you could win. Just bulldoze everybody. Just hit bombs. Average players were suddenly good. Good players, you couldn't get them out. But the sport wasn't all taking steroids. It's just dumb guys on Twitter saying that. It's not true. Nor does everybody steal signs like the Astros, and they should be punished, and they have been. Their GM done. Manager done. Draft picks done. Now they're going to have 98-mile-an-hour heaters to their skull for the next 5 months. That's no day at the beach. Now, I probably would have, as Doug Gottlieb said, not given full immunity to the entire roster. I would have taken a handful of guys and punished them at different times, 30 games for you, 30 for you, 30 for you. I would have made this season a mess. I would have punished the owner by just making this season a mess for Houston. But this is a sport that does not take away trophies. They don't. But they keep you out of the Hall of Fame. You're not going to be immortalized, but we're not taking away trophies, and I like consistent people. But accuracy matters on this stuff. Not everybody took steroids. It's not true. And by the way, Harold Reynolds yesterday came out, and he went back and he looked at that 2019 ALCS where Jose Altuve hit a jack against Chapman and came around the bases. And everybody on Twitter is like, he ran to the dugout to change his shirt. And Harold Reynolds said, no, he didn't. I looked at the tape. He celebrated with his teammates for 5-6 minutes. That's just a falsehood. Accuracy matters on this stuff. If you're going to rip Altuve, go ahead, but be accurate about it. Deflategate. Be accurate about it. Brady got better post-Deflategate. You just can't say, Deflategate, Tom cheated. You can, but not if you matter. Not if your opinions matter. Altuve didn't go from touching the plate and sprint to the dugout. He didn't. And that was even reported by baseball people. So I appreciated what Harold Reynolds did. I'm not defending Houston, but I will defend Major League Baseball players and say, not everybody took steroids. I'm not going to indict everybody. There's a lot of ethical guys in baseball. They did not all take steroids. That is false. And the Houston Astros, not everybody was in on this, and they did get punished. And this sport does offer immunity, like our government does, to get information. But this Altuve thing that he had a buzzer, that's never been proven. There's no proof. Somebody tried to make it proof about a month ago when it first came out, and they ended up showing confetti on one of the Astro players, and everybody said, there's a wire. And it's like, no, it's confetti. Let's just be honest about it. Let's be accurate. They're getting punished. They should be punished. They got caught. They got caught. And the GM is never getting a GM job. And the manager's probably never getting a manager job. And that's good. That's the way it should be. But you do have to have accuracy. You just can't go out there and make... I mean, I watched some of this political coverage in America. I saw something the other day about political coverage. It drove me crazy. Michael Bloomberg's buying the election. Well, there's more than one currency. When Obama got Oprah Winfrey's support, that's celebrity currency. That was $500 million in ads. Why do you think these candidates go out and go, oh, my God, Tom Hanks, Kevin Costner's going to support Mayor Pete? Because it's social currency. It's celebrity currency. There's more than one currency. Be honest about this. Bloomberg's buying the election. There's a lot of different ways to get free publicity and money and support. It's called celebrity currency, social currency. Obama got it. Reagan got it. Bloomberg got it. Trump's a celebrity. Didn't have to knock on doors. Mayor Pete does. All right, that's my politics for the month. Let me go to this. England has the royal family. Our royal family really is superstar NBA players and quarterbacks. It's not really politicians. They're not attractive enough for us. Their politics is boring. It's not CEOs. Our royal family is quarterbacks and NBA stars. They're treated differently. And the one that's been treated the worst, I don't want to talk about Kyrie and Katie. I want to talk about Russell Wilson. Because the royal family, at least we acknowledge they're the royal family. And LeBron, we acknowledge, and Aaron Rodgers, we acknowledge, and Kevin Durant, we acknowledge. You know who we never acknowledge? Russell Wilson. Yesterday, this was a thing. Greg Olsen, tight end, he had friends in Washington, Ron Rivera, he interviewed. He had friends in Buffalo, Sean McDermott, used to be in Carolina, interviewed. He chose Seattle. His family's never lived close to Seattle. He had no connections in Seattle, ever. You know why he chose Seattle? Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, like LeBron James, has become the human deodorant. He's an antibiotic. He's a concealer, as women use makeup. You can make mistakes with LeBron, and he just washes over it. The Seattle Seahawks drafted Rashad Penny, a running back, first round a couple years ago. He's mostly a bust, doesn't play, and I was told recently they tried to trade him last year. He doesn't really love football. Nobody talks about it because Russell Wilson makes it work. A couple years ago, Pete Carroll hired an offensive line coach, Tom Cable, who was a disaster. It didn't matter. Russell Wilson led the NFL in touchdowns with the lowest rated offensive line. Deodorant. They get Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's no longer a Pro Bowler, but he'll matter. Veterans do. Tight ends do. Russell Wilson's the reason here. His family doesn't go to Seattle. He doesn't know Seattle. He doesn't know anybody in the system. But that's Russell Wilson. Whiffing a draft pick, John Snyder, Rashad Penny, it was a draft filled with running backs. What were you doing? Nobody talks about the whiff. Rashad Penny's a whiff. You have a seventh rounder from Oklahoma State that's way better and loves football way more. Nobody talks about it. Tom Cable hiring, whiff. Nobody talks about it. James Carpenter, offensive line, first round. Nick Saban rolled his eyes, whiff. Nobody talks about it. Doug Baldwin, undrafted, becomes a star. This is the LeBron Russell Wilson effect. They become concealers and antibiotics. They cover the blemish. They cover the mistakes. DK Metcalf, Seattle reached. He's going to be a bust. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a star. This is the power, the force multiplier known as Russell Wilson. He just makes everything in Seattle work. Everything, every year. Bad draft picks. Oh, they've had them. Bad coaching hires. Oh, God, they've had them. I looked at a stat this morning of the bottom 11 offensive lines in the NFL, according to PFF. Joy, one team made the playoffs. I'll give you a couple guesses on who that was.
Was it Seattle?
Yeah. That offensive line was built by that coach and that GM. It has been a mess for years. And Russell Wilson, if his running backs didn't all get hurt in the same hour, would have carried Seattle over Green Bay to San Francisco, a team they beat once, to the NFC Championship. Greg Olsen chose Seattle, like smart people do, because of Russell Wilson, the human antibiotic for a flawed But once again next year, go to Vegas, go to Fox Bet, top NFL franchise. Coming up next, Solomon Wilcox. He comes out. Solomon Wilcox comes out, former Bengal, PFF, and says, oh, I know what Carson Palmer went through. I saw fans dump garbage on his lawn. Solomon probably getting heat for that, but what does Joe Burrow do? Because they want to draft him, and he's an Ohio kid. That's coming up. Computer systems in cars are the new normal. You got sensors. You got touchscreen displays. You've got electronically controlled transmissions. They're all cool, and they're all expensive, and they all inevitably break. That's where CarShield comes in. Affordable protection. So when the GPS goes belly up or the computer goes sideways, you're protected. CarShield customizable monthly plans with rates as low as $99 a month. Rental car, free. 24/7 roadside assistance, free. CarShield has helped over 1 million customers because it's America's #1 auto protection provider. $99 a month, that low. Go to carshield.com, code HERD. A deductible may apply. Or call 800-CAR-6000 and mention the same code. Tech's cool, tech breaks, it's inevitable. CarShield.